How to pick your niche on Instagram. Listen, here's the thing. Niche, I understand, can feel really frightening. It feels scary to put yourself into what feels like a box. But the reality is that having one clear niche can be the key to your growth. So the first thing that I would suggest when picking your niche is to write a list of all of your hobbies, things that you enjoy, things that you're passionate about, and write it down on a piece of paper. You'll probably realize that you enjoy a lot more things than you would be able to just think of in your head. Once you start writing, you're like, I've got a lot of cool things that I like to do. It can be bigger things like hobbies and interests or whatever. It can also be smaller things that might seem insignificant, but I mean, who knows? Write it down anyways. Once you've gone through your passions and hobbies and interests, I want you to write down things that you feel that you're good at. For example, things that you feel qualified that you could help someone else do. Or maybe things that you happen to have a lot more expertise in than the average person. Maybe you studied it in school, had a career in this topic, or even just like to learn about it, and because of that, you definitely know a lot about it. I would suggest making a list of these things as well and having it down on that piece of paper. The third thing that I would ask yourself, and this might not apply to everybody, but you would be surprised. What life events changed something in you or inspired something in you? Or what did you go through? Things that possibly someone else can relate to that you experienced within your lifetime. Write that down in a list. And again, you might not think that you have tons of these, but you would really be surprised. Once you start to really get brainstorming, it's a lot easier to recognize that, I did go through quite a bit of things that could potentially help someone else. And even if you don't feel like an expert in these things, considering that you experienced them yourself, it's very possible that you have the ability to help someone else go through these things as well. Next question. What do you enjoy talking about or teaching about? What's that one thing that you could talk about for literally ever that maybe the people around you are like, why are you still talking about this? Like, why do you constantly talk about this? What are those couple of things that you feel so passionately about that you just can't shut up about them? That's gonna be your next list. And the last question, if someone were to come to you for advice, for help, or something along those lines, what would they ask you for? What would they come to you for? Now, don't just think of one person, but multiple people. So maybe it's your best friend, your sibling, your neighbor, a stranger. What would all these different people come to you for advice on? It's an interesting topic to think about for sure, but it really gets your mind going. Okay, so now that you have all of these things written down, hopefully, if you followed along, you're probably gonna notice that you have the same couple of things in each of these lists. Now, maybe it doesn't appear in all of these lists, but you probably do have a couple of repeats going on. Now, what I would do is really focus in on these topics that seem to have repeated multiple times throughout this activity. You don't have to pick one of those, but it is more likely that by picking one of those, it's probably something that you really enjoy and that you feel you have a lot of expertise in. So I would probably consider those first. Gather all of these repeated topics and any other topics that you want to consider and put those down at the end in like a contestants box. Like, here's the final contenders for the niche. So now that you have this group, I want you to look at each of these topics and ask yourself, could you see yourself talking about this thing every single day for the next 3 years? Bear with me, because you don't have to talk about this thing every single day for the next 3 years, but if you are gonna focus on it, I wanna make sure that it's something that you actually enjoy, you can actually see yourself doing, not just this week, not just this month, but far into the future. Because growth does take time, and so if you're looking to establish one single niche, it's not just going to blow up within the next couple of days. Like, it's probably going to take quite a bit of time, which means that you're going to be focusing a lot of your energy into this one thing for quite a bit of time. So really look at these different topics and think to yourself, is this something that I can see myself talking about, teaching about, expanding on, being obsessed with for the next couple of years? Now, the next thing that you might want to ask yourself, is this something that other people could actually benefit from? Or does this really only benefit myself? Is the opportunity there to help someone else or to inspire someone else or to relate to someone else? Something along those lines. Because you want to make sure that you're not just only thinking about yourself with this niche topic, but that the opportunity is there to help a specific group of people. Now, that group can be really, really, really small, or it can be a little larger, and that's okay. Typically, Obviously, the more specific you can get, the better. But if you do have a large group that you want to talk to, it is possible to grow as well. And the last thing that I want to ask yourself with this final group is, do you see a financial opportunity? When you look at these different topics, which one of them has the opportunity to actually make you money? If that's your goal, of course. Because I can tell you that I've got tons of passions and tons of things that I love, but the reality is that some of them are going to be more profitable than others. Some of them people would probably be willing to pay for, and others maybe not. Or some of them might be super saturated, meaning there's tons of people doing this thing, whereas this other thing maybe isn't as saturated, it's a little bit more unique. So just really think to yourself, which of these things has the best financial opportunity for me? And of course, with that being said, make sure that you feel comfortable creating products or services or coaching or whatever it happens to be surrounding that topic. And it does feel like something that you can actually monetize. So again, that goes a little bit more into the business side of things, but even if you're a creator, I can guarantee you that it would be great to make an extra income from social media, right? And so really do think about that as you're picking your niche of what can be profitable, what can actually help to make you money, so that this isn't just a passion project, but content creating can actually turn into your career or an extra source of income or something along those lines. I hope that going through this activity made it a little bit more clear on what your niche could potentially be. With all that being said, I really hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the thumbs up button below because it does help me out a lot and it lets me know that you liked this topic and I could potentially make more videos like this. If you haven't already, go ahead and watch my other video on niche. It's all about whether or not you should pick a niche for your Instagram account, whether or not you specifically need it to grow, if it'll help you. I kind of broke down my opinion on whether or not to pick a niche. But that's all you get from me today. I hope this was valuable and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.